when you're searching for centers and play driving centers like the Bruins are, you don't necessarily need like the elite guy when you have Pastrnak.
David Pastrnak, 100 points for the third straight year. Not a common feat, and not a common feat on a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
And we have discussed, maybe less than we should have, honestly, how bad the Bruins were this season. David Pastrnak, I think, is probably the best player on a bad team this year. And I was thinking about other ones. Sidney Crosby, of course, had a great season because he always does. Artemi Panarin, always good. Travis Konechny, pretty solid season on that bad Flyers team. Joey Decord didn't have the finest night last night, but pretty bad Kraken team. Joey Decord was a real bright spot, but no brighter spot on a bad team this year than David Pastrnak. So I'll just let you give him his flowers, and then I'm going to give some information from our friend Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needs to be said at this point, but like it is unbelievable how good he has been on a really bad team with, like, I don't want to say really bad line mates, but like really underwhelming line mates and on the wing. Like, it is so difficult to drive as much as Pastrnak has driven with pretty underwhelming line mates from the wing. And like it's just kind of unbelievable. And it feels very bittersweet as a Bruins fan because you feel like you wasted a great like Hall of Fame type season from one of your best players. But also, like, it gives you a little bit of hope moving forward that like this rebuild can move a little bit faster with a guy like that at the top of the lineup. And when you're searching for centers and play driving centers like the Bruins are, you don't necessarily need like the elite guy when you have Pastrnak. Like, when you look at Tampa Bay, you say, like, yeah, Point is like a really great player. But how good would Point be as like your number one center without a Nikita Kucherov? And I don't know the answer to that. Like, he could be a great 2C, but is he like an unbelievable top flight 1C without Kucherov?
It's a great question. I think in this specific example, I love Braden Point so much. So
do
maybe you're
I.
asking the wrong guy, but that is a very valid question. And I saw a thing from one of the people in the Chicklets family, and I loved it. It was like my favorite video. I think it was Merles who was saying that wingers, we need to do away with the winger doesn't get Selke consideration.
Oh no, that was Colby Armstrong.
Oh, was it Colby?
It was Colby Armstrong, and he made it.
I apologize because I absolutely love Colby, and he's the best. I apologize. And he made the point of like wingers' responsibilities are so much greater now because it's not quite a positionless game, but it's definitely not. The center does all the work and the winger goes stand along the wall, wait for the breakout pass, and that's it. You have to deal with these incredible mobile defensemen. And if I find the clip, I'll throw it out there on Twitter or whatever. But it just adds to like maybe my thing about, you know what, I'd rather my best player be a center or a defenseman. That's becoming dated. And obviously the proof is in the pudding for the Bruins that having a great wing lead your team does not automatically make you a good team because the team is junk without him. But I can wrap my head around more. Just get decent centers. Get like,
and that like
get a first and a half line center, get a second and a half line center, and like if one of them is playing with David Pastrnak and Elias Lindholm is not a first and a half line center, he is a second and a half line center. Get something, and bad example now because he looks good with David Pastrnak, but that takes it back all the way around because Pasternak's making anybody look good.
Yeah, and I don't want to like I don't want the route to be twisted here. Like, Braden Point is a really
little
good
better
center.
than Elias.
Yeah, right. And the Bruins would
Lindholm.
be fucking so lucky to have a Braden Point. But yeah, I don't know. Pastrnak is just it's incredible what he's kind of become over the last couple of years, where early on in his career, you had doubts about his defensive play. You had doubts about his physicality, what he would develop into. He's just, I would say, like one of the best three wingers in the game.
Yeah, and I love David Pastrnak. I just did not see that coming, especially with how the season was unfolding. I think eventually everything was going to catch up to him, and it really didn't.
Please don't waste his prime years, please.
From Scott McLaughlin of WEEI.com and also WEEI, you should check out the Skate podcast. Him and the whole gang, excellent. And Scott's a numbers-driven guy, really smart hockey person. From Scott McLaughlin, Pastrnak has nearly twice as many points as anyone else on the team, 48 more than second-place Geekie. That is by far the biggest gap between any team's leading and second leading scorer. The Tampa Bay Lightning are second with a 32-point drop-off from Nikita Kucherov to Brandon Hagel. Speaking of Kucherov, Pastrnak is 15 points behind him and 16 behind Nathan MacKinnon in the overall scoring race, but he's actually outpacing everyone in 5-on-5 scoring. Pasternak's 62 5-on-5 points are 4 more than second-place Kucherov, and his 51 primary goals plus primary assists at 5-on-5 lead Kucherov by 7. Another thing that he adds for the season, David Pastrnak has factored in on 47.2 of all Bruins goals. That is easily the highest mark in the NHL. MacKinnon is second with a point on 43.9% of all Colorado goals. The Bruins are plus 14 at 5-on-5 with Pastrnak on the ice this season. They are minus 26 with him off it. Read that post from Scott McLaughlin because that is a lot of numbers, but it is just a deluge of Pastrnak is doing kind of everything for the Bruins. Yeah. And again, Bruins stink, so someone's got to do everything. It is a case of gold among garbage, but it is a case of gold.
100%. And that's also, as the chat pointed out, like it's not even mentioning the fact that he had a pretty slow start to the year.
Yeah.
Had a slow start to the year as the Bruins were trying to figure things out and mixing and matching the lines. Like it wasn't a horrible start, but it was well below the pace that he has now. And I mean, that January that he had was insane. 24 points in 14 games. So, yeah, it's a bummer that it comes in this season, but I just hope that it gets widespread appreciation what he's been able to do on this bad of a team.
David Pastrnak is in the second year of his 8-year deal. He's 28 years young. Is he the next captain of the Boston Bruins? Do you want a captain based on what you have seen since Brad Marchand was traded? Do you think the team needs to just do a bunch of A's? Do you give it a Charlie McAvoy? Or right now, I don't think David Pasternak's stock could be any higher given the circumstances.
I would agree with that. And I'll be honest, I don't really care about the captain thing. I don't know. I wouldn't rush to hand one out. If they gave it to Pastrnak, I'd be happy about it. If they gave it to McAvoy, I'd be like, okay, I could see that too.
You were saying Zadorov earlier.
That's right. Yep. Morgan Geekie should get some consideration.
Yep.
I don't really care.
Fraser Minton has looked pretty good so far.
It's hard to care about the captaincy thing.
Grow into it.
Hard to care about the captaincy thing when you don't know what the team looks like. Like their offseason is going to be wild. I have no idea what their team is going to look like next year. And so it's hard for me to be like, that guy should be wearing the C.
There's a lot of talk of Casey going middle cap mode.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, I was seeing it on some boards.
Would
you believe if I said that I read anything on a board?
No.
I'm not
a board guy.
I tried to check the What Chaos Discord the other day, and I've been logged out. My password is, I just don't have a password anymore. I'm just never going to see that.
I've said this to you guys a few times. I don't think I've said it on the show. I'm fully on board with the Nikolai Ehlers to the Bruins in the season. Put him with Middlestat.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, you need guys.
Yeah. So you need guys. You need 2 top 6 wingers who can score.
We all silly like the mayor.